And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the ETVU Sportsnet Coaches Show, presented by our sponsors at Marshall Hometown Tire. Well, folks, whether you're watching from the office or in the classroom or getting the hood of your car fixed from some guy named Jared, sorry about that, he's already here with me. Pleased to be joined by the head baseball coach at ETVU, Jared Hood. Coach Hood, obviously, the season's continuing to go on here, and, the results haven't been quite going the way that you have wanted, but at times I'm watching the team perform, and it just seems like even if though the young they may be, they're giving themselves some opportunities to try to create chances for them to, get in some runs opportunity. It seems like they're competing well, just that the breaks haven't gone their way at this point.
Well, we're learning right now, and we're learning how to compete at the college level and what that takes and what all that entails, and you can't have an off inning, and you can't have an off pitch, and you can't have an off game, and some of our guys we're learning some tough lessons on that right now, but at the same time we've played some quality opponents, and when you talk about the first series of the year in Centenary, and they're an established program and play good baseball and have a pretty good identity about who they are, and then you bring in Chapman, the number one team in the country, and compete well with them, and didn't execute everything the way we needed to, but competed well. And then this past weekend, with Howard Payne coming in and hit the ball hard, and timely hitting was an issue. Pitching, not throwing strikes, putting free runners on, and then making the big defensive error, especially in game one that cost us that one. But it's all fixable things, and when you think about it, it all comes down to the simple fact of continuing to compete. We've got talented kids, but we've just got to continue to teach and continue to learn what it takes to compete at the college level.
Certainly there, Coach. And obviously, going back to the series with Howard Payne, obviously, especially, when you finally got that first win, it took like 9 runs. I don't know obviously it was a 9-run outburst, but it wasn't like your typical 9-run outburst where you had guys driving in runs. It took some small ball. You had guys get on base. There was a bunt single there in the process as well. But obviously, it just felt like the fact that you guys had played so hard the last couple of games prior to that and haven't been able to come out and win, was that just kind of one of those where at some point during the season you were going to have an inning like that where things were just going to go your way, or did it just kind of have to play out by itself with how it went?
Well, I think it was one of those things to where, what we preach on a daily basis with our guys as far as, keeping the attention to detail and making sure that, when the opportunity that you're called on to get a bunt down, stuff like that, when that opportunity comes up, that you're ready for that opportunity. And I think it was just one of those situations to where all of that kind of came to light, and it was another learning point for our guys to know that, hey, we can win games doing that, and putting pressure on the defense, and that's what we were able to do. Got some key situational hitting at that point in time, put some bunts down, put some pressure on their defense. They threw some balls away, and we were able to take advantage of some opportunities there. So I think it's if nothing else, it was an eye-opening experience for our guys as far as just another avenue that we can use to win ball games.
Great, Coach. Now, of course, during that doubleheader against Howard Payne, one player that really stood out to me was Ryan Casper. He came off the bench during Game 2 and had a couple of hits and some RBIs, and then the second game of the doubleheader, he really was just as good, 2 hits as well. Obviously, a newcomer to the team as well, but so far, what has been the thing that has impressed you the most about him when he's played?
With him, he's kind of one of those dirtbag kids that every coach kind of likes. Everything that he does is is full speed, and he does it to the best of his ability. And to be quite honest, he's kind of an under the radar guy, up to this point, and just kind of does everything, just does everything well. And to his credit, he's had to kind of buy his time a little bit and got an opportunity, and to say the least, made the most out of that opportunity. So he's earned himself some more playing time and at bats, and really proud of him in the way that he's approached the game and approached kind of this new role that he's found himself here at ETBU, and kind of excited to see what he's going to do with it going forward.
Certainly, Coach. Now, today, of course, you have a game with Millsaps College at 4 p.m., so obviously it's a one-game thing and all that. Now, in contrast to what you have to deal with on a weekend basis where you know who's starting for your team and all, the lineups will play itself out depending on who you're facing on the mound. From a coach's perspective, does everything change from a one-game perspective in midweek, knowing that you have a couple of games later on down the road just to save your guys' arms, or you just go with a typical bullpen game? How do you approach it from a one-game perspective during the middle of the week in contrast to a three-game series?
Well, pitching-wise, I think you have to look at it from two different angles. You got to look at it from the pitching standpoint, and you've got to look at it from the position player standpoint. From the pitching standpoint, obviously we've got our weekend starters, that we're not going to send out there for multiple innings and the fact of 3 to 5 innings, but you've got some guys that need some work, and the best thing for our guys right now is to continue to throw them out there and continue to get that live game experience. So we've got a number of guys that need some work today. So you work more off of kind of pitch count and kind of what's kind of a feel for your guys and how they're doing. Because today's it's their pen day, so they're scheduled to throw today off the mound. So it all kind of works out. And then position player wise, it's the same thing. You continue to roll the best guys out there and to get them at bats and to keep working situations and just find ways to win ball games.
And of course, later on this weekend, you will be making another road trip, and of course, it's everyone's favorite road trip, to say the least. Except it's Abilene plus 5 more hours to Alpine, Texas, as well. So the second year in a row, you're going out there, and for some of the new guys, if you're talking about road trips, this is the ultimate road trip. It's not just it's not just being out there, because obviously once you're out there, hey, everything's fun. You do what you do for business-wise. It's the getting out there part. So for the new guys, obviously, that have yet to experience this road trip, just sort of any thoughts of what to expect from them, or just kind of?
This is our first road trip of the season, and it's, we're going out to Alpine, and I learned when I first got here that, you better embrace that trip, and that's one thing that we've really tried to do, and the conversation that we've tried to have with our guys is look, this is an opportunity for us to be around each other, in an environment to where we can continue to grow together, continue to get to know each other, kind of off the baseball field. And I think for young guys, that's really one of the most important things, is that they know who coach is without the coaching hat on, and I think that's important for me as well, to know who the players are without, them being in uniform, so you really get to understand who your team is during these times, and I look forward to this trip every time, because, after the Alpine trip, whether it's win, lose, or draw, and we come back, I always feel that our team is so much closer together, and some bonds are made, and then just a really higher understanding of what everybody's about comes from this trip. So I'm looking forward to it, and I know our players are too, especially with kind of where we're at in the season, and had a good workout yesterday. So we just got to keep building the momentum going through it, and then go out there and take care of business.
Also a good opportunity to maybe show support. I don't know if it works out, but the men's basketball team, of course, is also out there in Alpine competing. So depending on, maybe go out there, support the team, but you never know. Just got to worry about taking care of business with Sul Ross State as well. All right, Coach, thanks once again for joining me. That's Coach Jared Hood. We'll have more with him later on this season, and we'll have more for your ETBU Sportsnet Coaches Show.